Hello, and welcome to the 100th episode of Bodied. We finally made it, friends, through the thick and the thin, the long journey. We've come to this point. Our big ol' one double bagel. I'm joined by Frozencreek.
Yeah, we've been.
Sorry.
Yeah, we've been doing this shit for forever now. We started in season 5. Is that true? No, season 6.
We've done it.
We started
It's season 6. We've done it for like almost a little over 2 years.
Which is wild to me because I've lived in so many different places and I've recorded the podcast in so many different places that the fact that we come on is like second nature, and it's just followed us around, me around the state and you around the country.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I've had a lot of really good times, and
maybe one day we'll be able to record an episode in the same room.
It would be super sick if that could happen at some point.
Yeah, because that's one thing that we've never done or even, I guess, thought about doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially not for this episode. Sorry we missed last week. I know you were working nights and I was working up to the election yesterday, so I have been extremely busy. I slept about 5 hours last night, so I'm pretty pumped to be done because it looks like everything went well, at least for me, so can't complain. Now we're back to the bodied grind, but it's the time of the year where everything kind of shuts down, so
yeah, it's off-season time for a lot of stuff. We're not going to be able to talk about a whole lot, but we're going to try to touch on as much stuff as we can. We also have Dr. Manhatten coming in later. He's stuck in traffic, but he will be joining us. So I think let's just get started off with some CSGO news. Let's start off right off the bat. So Cloud9 CSGO participated in the Blast Pro Series Copenhagen tournament, and surprise of all surprises, our team actually did well. We had to sub in Valens for a game because Golden was sick, but we ended up beating MIBR, those traitorous fucking snakes, whose names I will not mention because they're dead to me. And then we beat a few other teams, and we came close to beating a few others. I think we got close to beating Navi. Who else did we beat? Do we have? It's not important. But we ended up beating Astralis in, I guess, sort of like the third place match. And we did this all on the back of Kiyoshima, who was our sort of stand-in for Skadoodle, since Skadoodle has, kind of retired. And I gotta say, the team looked a lot better, like the best that they have looked in like months, which is great.
Yeah, I was actually able to watch a couple of the games this time, just based on when they started. So I actually do think that they have improved a lot. It seemed that the mechanical mistakes were kind of still there, but overall, like, the team performance was there. They weren't exactly like testing out too many strategies on the couple maps that I saw. It kind of seems that they were trying to stick towards the same thing, but it turned out okay. I mean, it wasn't some tournament a win or anything, but you can kind of see the whole picture starting to come together. And I know that we don't quite have all the pieces to the puzzle yet from a player standpoint, but you can kind of see how the players are working towards that goal either way.
Not for real. I think that just sort of team synergies and everything and team cohesion look just a lot better. I think Kiyoshima definitely brings a bit more firepower, as well as I think just more, team cohesiveness to it that we didn't really have when Skadoodle was kind of playing. Skadoodle is really hot and cold, and I think with Kiyoshima we were less relying on being hot or cold and actually working on strategy and playing as a team. And a lot of people are hoping that he gets signed because he definitely brought a lot more to the roster. And according to a rumor, I think at least from what Thorne had tweeted out, it looks like he's going to stay, which personally I'm completely fine with. I don't care if we have to become a EU team. Some people have mentioned that there were some like loopholes that you could kind of exploit to keep C9 as an NA team, even though you have 3 European players. I don't care what we're branded as. Mostly, I just want us to do well. And with Kiyashima, I think we definitely have a chance to improve a lot and actually start to do super well.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how it's going to work out, like practice-wise and performance-wise. Because most of the league tournaments kind of are played not on land. So would we practice and live over there? Because that's kind of like counterintuitive to what Jack has kind of, I guess, been trying to set up with like a gaming facility for all of the players.
I believe MIBR actually does something similar. I think we would do something similar where it is more. They are technically like a Brazilian team, but they play in a lot of NA, like online regioned events, you know. So I think it. I people did mention that there is a few loopholes. I think that Jack can probably finagle something to allow the team to play in NASIL and utilize the facility that they're planning to get set up in, I believe, sometime probably next year or the year after.
Yeah, I guess it's not like fully set up yet, but I guess it would be really weird to see them play in the EU just
I think it would definitely be a lot tougher because the competition over there is there's a, you know, since CS:GO is a really EU oriented kind of game, at least currently, you know, they'd have to play against like a lot of really tough teams. You know, they'd have to play against Astralis and FaZe and Navi and a bunch of other really, you know, good European teams. So I think it would be really tough for them, but I think I'm hoping at least that they finagle it some way to where we can keep Kiyashima and as well as stay in North America. That would be the ideal scenario, I think.
Yeah, but I'm not totally opposed against practicing against better players just because more practice throughout the year kind of helps prepare them for playing in bigger global tournaments. Like
yeah, same here.
Majors and stuff. So it'll just be kind of weird, I guess. I don't know how that'll be set up, but I guess we'll just have to find out.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on to the next bit of news, the British Hurricanes sadly have departed ways with Fusions and Funny Astro. These two players, I believe Funny Astro is also British. The Overwatch World Cup was recently going on, and Team UK just wowed fans and critics alike with how they played. They created an extremely competitive, highly enjoyable match against South Korea, and they honestly looked like the second best team at that tournament, even though they lost to South Korea, I believe, in the semifinals. They honestly looked like the best team. So to see Fusions and Funny Astro sort of depart from the British Hurricanes, but to move on to Overwatch League, I think is extremely good. You know, Fusions is going to be playing for Boston. I am not sure where Funny Astro is playing. There hasn't been any news on him yet, but to see like our players go through contenders and be super successful at the Overwatch League World Cup and then get picked up by another team, I think that's exactly what the contenders team is kind of for. And I feel really proud that it's like, no, our player is going to be playing for the Uprising and going to be going to the big leagues. And I think that just shows just how well C9 continues to develop talent and get them ready for sort of the highest league of play.
To be honest, it's a lot like watching me play football manager, where we kind of just sign a bunch of like good players, but like they're not ready to be, I guess, starters on like a main team yet, and then we kind of either don't play them or let them perform a couple times and then they leave. We had a couple of Koreans leave that way, but he also probably wasn't going to fit in to our squad in the grand scheme of things, and in the Overwatch League squad, that is.
Oh yeah, the London Spitfire I think will always and forever be a full Korean main roster, because that's just how I think you gain success in Overwatch League. Korean talent, it's sort of like, it's kind of depressing, I guess, but at the same time, the Korean talent is in abundance, and a lot of Korean players are very skilled. So you either get the best of the best and win because of it, or you maybe don't do as well with having like a mixed roster or a full European roster. I mean, Jack took a gamble and the gamble paid off, and I think his thinking is correct. I would say. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but I think that's just, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and make decisions that kind of sound not good. I'm rambling, but the point is, the London Spitfire are great, and you should love them even if, regardless of where they come from.
Yeah, of course. They're our team, and it looks like they're keeping most of the same roster, so we should be familiar with all those faces. And with some new teams coming into the league, there's can be a more talent that gets spread out. So anything that we can help promote as like Cloud9 alumni is good for the brand, I think.
For sure. But don't despair, friends. We have filled in their spots with Numlocked, who is actually a member of the LA Valiant, and then Yoffi. I haven't heard of Yoffi, so they may be more of an unknown support. But Numlocked is a known tank player, Overwatch League caliber talent, and I think that's a pretty good replacement for Fusions. So hopefully we can continue to play well even without Fusions. I'm sad that he is gone, because he was honestly one of the reasons why I love just watching the Hurricanes play, because he's such a good tank player. But I think that he can definitely hopefully help fill in that gap and give us another Contenders championship.
Yeah, there's a lot to work with the Hurricane team. It just kind of stinks that there's not really a pipeline up, but other than that, they're still an enjoyable team, and a lot of the players that are gonna be on that squad will hopefully make it to Overwatch League someday. And who knows what'll happen in the next couple of years, but maybe there will be room for English, British, European players to move up into the ranks.
I think there will. I think it's just time, and maybe get some more expansion spots, because Europe only has us and then Paris currently. So I think within the next season, probably, I could definitely see Overwatch League adding like a team from Spain and then probably Germany, just to at least have 4 teams from Europe. I'm not sure at what pace they want to really start ramping up, the geolocation and everything, because I think by like season 4, I think that's when they want to actually put the teams, in, the countries that they're supposed to represent, or the states that they're supposed to represent, and then start like doing stuff, I think. But I just want to see more European teams, just because it's mostly American teams, and then we added like 2 Chinese teams.
Do you think Overwatch League lasts long and enough to become a geographic
I think
location
it
kind of
can.
esport?
Season 1 was really successful. A lot of people watched it, and clearly people are still buying in if they are going for a season 2 and expanding the league to add more teams. So I think it can. I think it's just a matter of how well do you market it and everything in order to uh make it work.
Yeah, I know they've been trying to fine tune the game to get ready for season 2, and I really hope it can last. I know a lot of my friends who have it haven't played Overwatch in quite a while, and most of them aren't into esports anyway, but I'm just worried that the game might just die before we get too far.
I've been
But
meaning to play. I haven't had a
yeah,
lot of time to really play competitively because I've been busy with work and stuff. That's like my excuse. I'm definitely looking to try to get back into it and try and get good. But
yeah,
yeah,
for sure. And once the league season's over within a couple days, then maybe I'll jump back on.
I think that is all for Overwatch. We have stretched this to the limit.
Yeah, we're kind of trying to stall for Dr. Manhattan a little bit, but
May not make
we've
it.
done too much, I think.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to talking about League. We can talk about the finals and how Fnatic, as cocky bastards that they are, were completely destroyed by Invictus Gaming.
Well, we never actually talked about finals though.
But we talked about it last week, or last one we did stuff.
No, the last pod we did was before
Oh
semis.
shit, you might be right. All right. Well, let's talk about semifinals then.
You can repeat everything that you just said about Fnatic.
Fnatic are cocky bastards, and it was a really
About
weird game
Cloud9.
to watch. Like listening to Reaper's sort of after the fact hindsight 2020 stream on on his Twitch, sort of discussing why he like why pick Echo, why pick Lissandra, why play this and this. It all makes sense. Like Reaper's a really smart dude. I don't doubt our coach, right? And he talks about how he doesn't solely make the decisions. It's him and the players. Jensen wanted to play Lissandra those other games. That was Jensen's decision. Victor, does kind of get countered by Echo. All of his decisions, as he's describing them, it's like, okay, yeah, this makes perfect sense. But I think that, I don't know, the team was probably nervous because they've never been in the World Semifinals before, and they had a legit shot at going to the finals. Fnatic definitely, overperformed in that game probably, as well as just, I think personally, I've never really liked Jensen on Lissandra. He has always seemed really uncomfortable because she is a very slow champion versus what Jensen likes to do and play champions that are really quick. It can have really quick spell rotations. And I think Licorice also
okay on it earlier on, but once he got into semifinals, he went back to being kind of uncomfortable on the pick. So I'm not quite sure what happened and if it was like a nerves thing or not, but
I think it is. And I think also Fnatic, I think just Fnatic plays really similarly to C9. Like if you watched previously in the tournament, like how Fnatic played and how Cloud9 played, it's like identical, right? So to see that kind of getting prepared, trying to play against a team that plays exactly like you is really difficult. And I think that they kind of lost their edge because with the playing against like the Korean teams and stuff, they played against a Freak of Freaks. A Freak of Freaks was like, oh, we'll just play our game of like slow and steady. Oh, we'll just wait for them to make a mistake. Oh, look at our macro. Cloud9's like, we'll just beat you before you can ramp up and really do that. But with Fnatic, also caught on, right? And then similarly, Invictus also caught on because it was like they've had 3 weeks to get ready for that. So, yeah, I think it's just a bit of a multitude of things, but ultimately, I'm proud that we actually just got to semifinals because they deserve to be there.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, like we were just completely outclassed up on the stage, and I'm not sure if putting Jensen on something more comfortable would have really made that any better.
I think the issue was just that like trying to match Caps' champion pool. Like Caps' champion pool is just a lot bigger than Jensen's. Plus, a lot of it overlaps. Like you have to take out Akali and Irelia because Caps is really really good in both of those, and Jensen doesn't really play those. And then you have to like consider, okay, well, what next? And then you have to take away like LeBlanc or Aatrox or a bunch of other stuff. So you're really kind of like having to counter him in some way, and it's really difficult because his champion pool is just bigger.
Yeah, and it seemed they kind of understood how to play the game a little bit better in the current meta. But I mean, I guess we can move on to finals because even if they understood how to play the game better than us, it turns out that they actually have no
knew it
fucking
way
clue how
way
to
better.
play the game. Yeah, IG beat the shit out of them.
Wasn't even close.
Probably
it was just
as we
a
got.
demolishing of Spirit.
I mean, IG is a fantastic team, so it's no surprise that they were able to get this far. They knocked out tournament favorites KT Rolster, so it wasn't like they came out of nowhere. Like, we knew coming in that Rookie was arguably the best mid laner in the world. We knew that the Shy might be the best player in the world right now. That also goes for Rookie. Spirit's been playing fantastic for quite a while, so it's really no surprise that they were able to stomp Fnatic overall. But I guess we can kind of reflect on Worlds as a whole. Can you just like possibly cut it down to? Sorry, I dropped my mic. Cut it down to a minute or two, like what you thought about Worlds as a whole, not specifically Cloud9 related, but like what you thought about the meta, what you thought about how the tournament played out and such.
I can do it in 3 words. Best Worlds ever. Everyone had a shot at going to the finals and winning. The parity felt extremely high. The meta was in this great spot to where it's like, let's not, just kind of jerk around and do the macro tower trade dance or whatever for, like 20 minutes or something, or do this whole thing with, playing slow and trying to like be super smart around the map, and it's just fight. And fighting makes things really entertaining, and I highly enjoyed that aspect of it. And also just to see Cloud9 sort of perform and in some cases outperform the quote unquote better teams like Genji and RNG at times, and it was just really great to watch. I think as a whole experience.
Yeah, I can agree with pretty much all of that. I really like to see, or I really liked how we saw the world's meta evolve from play-ins all the way to finals. Like there was definitely different styles of play that were going on, and then it kind of proved out to be that the best way to win was to pick people that could engage in lane, win the lane, and then win the game. And if you weren't winning the lane, like there was like a clear way back by trying to pick skirmishes around the map, and it made it really enjoyable to watch. I think Korea got pretty embarrassed up there, losing all their teams by quarterfinals, which is unheard of for them. And
that's supposed to be like our job.
no, our job is to be the NA's last hope, and
well, I meant NA as a whole.
From NA gets a shit on in groups. But I think it's now a fact that China is the best region, like undeniably.
I think that China definitely had just a lot of strong competition. EDG with Ray, RNG with Uzi, and then just Invictus with just everybody. Everybody on Invictus seemed to definitely step up. Also, fun fact: Bedosin, who is the London Spitfires flex support player, he used to be Rookie's understudy for Invictus. So I think that's super cool.
He was what?
He was his sub. He was
Who's sub?
Rookie's
You dropped
sub.
off for a sec.
But Dosen was Rookie's sub.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Oh, we need to put a Zenyatta into League and see what he can do
That'd be
as a
really
mid
neat.
laner. So I think Dr. Manhattan's probably gonna jump in a second. Okay, no, never mind. He's not jumping in anytime soon.
We may just be done.
Yeah, we may just be done by that time.
Yeah. I think moving on to I think our next point, we've kind of talked about rules, I think, enough.
I think now that League of Legends is done, like we should kind of reflect on the season as a whole.
I wanted to talk about Scouting Grounds a little bit first.
Okay.
You got news there, Frozen?
That works.
So, for those that haven't seen the news, the Scouting Grounds is coming up. It's going to happen November 17th. And the interesting thing is this year, all the teams are going to participate, and they're going to kind of co-coach teams. So it's not going to be like Cloud9 solely supporting Team Cloud Drake or CLG supporting Team Ocean Drake. And this year, Cloud9 and TSM are going to co-coach Team Cloud Drake. So that's really interesting. So it's kind of like rivals becoming allies kind of thing. And I'm really interested to see what's going to happen because TSM and C9 approach the game really differently. Like Cloud9 likes to sort of have this more laid back atmosphere and I think focus more on different things, while TSM is very strict and they have like a one style that they like to really do, and they just stick to it. If either if it helps them or hurts them. So I think it'll be really interesting to see kind of what happens as all that kind of goes on.
Yeah, and again, it is Scouting Grounds. Both these teams have kind of had an eye for talent in a way. Like, I don't think TSM has done a good job as much recently, but they did a really good job picking out Biofrost, and they did a really good job picking out what's his face, Haunter. And I think teaming those two organizations together is kind of weird, but like I think it's gonna work out really well. The coaching is probably the best in the league for both teams, and it's gonna be cool to watch them develop players through scouting grounds, because a lot of these people participating in scouting grounds are going to be working with like the two teams that they, I don't want to say grew up watching because we're eight years in, but like they looked up to as they trained and tried to get to the professional scene. Like these are the two premier organizations.
I think this year how though Scouting Grounds is probably going to be the most important Scouting Grounds, because as we saw with like C9, scouting players and developing them through the Scouting Grounds is just immensely important. With just a handful of rookies and in time, we went from last place to world semifinals. And I think this completely rearranges how the landscape, the sort of the talent landscape of NA looks, instead of having to always go, okay, well, we need, a Korean player because Koreans are really good, or we need a European player, or something. Now let's take our time. Let's really try to develop these people in a system or an environment that can really help work for us, a split down the road or a year down the road instead. So I think this year, a lot more teams are really going to pay attention to scouting grounds in the academy scene rather than just doing it because they are, mandated that they have to have an academy team and field one.
Yeah, I think it is the way forward. Our rookies this year were exceptional, just based on the fact that both of them were really experienced in the challenger scene, but before they took the step up. But was Blabber a scouting grounds player?
Yes, Blabber was. Blabber
Okay.
and
Wiggly was too, right?
maybe I can't remember. I know Blabber was. Oh, and Shiro
I know
was.
that we had an
Shiro was the
80
other one.
carry. Oh yeah, Shiro was. Yeah, we had an 80 carry that we ended up.
We got Ash, but then we traded
Ash,
him.
that's what it was. Yeah. Oh yeah, is he the one that we traded for like a pick or something? I guess it's not important.
I remember.
But I think we're starting to see that there's a couple unpolished gems that are waiting in Challenger, are waiting for a team to take a chance on them and really try and coach them up from the ground. So it's going to be cool to see how the two teams work with these young players, and I'm mostly just excited to see what players are brought into scouting grounds.
Same here.
Did he lie to us? 7 minutes. Yeah, that was 11 minutes ago.
Lied. I feel betrayed.
I know, same. All right, I'm gonna eat this really quick, and then I'm sure he'll be on.
Okay.
Or if he gets on, he can just start first.
All right. At least here. And we're going to be talking about Cloud9's super big, impressive year. And I think just as a whole, this year's been pretty amazing. So many championships won, so many milestones accomplished, all in 1 year. Sorry, all in 1 year.
Yeah, I mean it's really crazy when you consider all that. I mean, you had like for starters, you had like a lot of big startups, like or in terms of like leagues and other stuff that happened this year. I mean, you had what the dominance that was like Fortnite or like battle royales as a whole coming around, and the fact that we managed to plant a small flag in that. You had the Overwatch League was supposed to be this giant, step in the direction of esports when it comes to production value, on top of many other things, which was incredible as the way Blizzard executed it. Obviously, there are things they can definitely learn, which I'm looking forward to in 2019. But I mean, we planted our flag there by with the acquisitions that we made there, and it paid off quite well considering we won the inaugural one. Which, if we know anything about sports leagues, no matter how far the league goes, everyone always remembers the first guys who ever won it. Which, in this case, I'm glad for Cloud9. The tumultuous roster runs that happened throughout most of the teams, namely in CS and in League, and the fact that we managed to prove everyone wrong, and just the amount of championships that we won with those guys, even with newer guys like the R6 guys. Definitely proud of how far we've come thus far.
Don't forget a Rocket League.
Oh yeah, can't forget the Rocket League guys either.
Yeah, and Clash Royale.
Oh yeah, also the upcoming Clash Royale, or the currently running Clash Royale League, which was fantastic as well.
I think just as a whole, I think it's just amazing that C9's had to accomplish so much, even despite some really rough patches. The league roster, I think, being the biggest one because just considering we were in 10th place and we were looking in like just the worst spot, and then we were able to turn around and go to the World Semifinals and actually have a pretty good shot at going to the finals. I think that says a lot about just what sort of the organization as a whole can do and what they can really accomplish. I mean, look at CSGO. They won the Boston Major, and even though they've had rough spots and a few snakes in the grass, I think with how bringing on Kiyoshima, I think finally the team is looking to be in a spot where they can actually start to be successful again.
Yeah, it was really cool to see, the fact that even with Golden's issues that happened, the fact that Balance was willing to step in. I mean, that's, to my knowledge, relatively crazy or almost even unheard of in the world of esports. The fact that their own coach had to come in and to sub in for one of for our IGL essentially. And
then he took down the traitors that stabbed him in the back. He took the knives out of his back and then stabbed them.
I mean, that's pretty much one of the dankest timelines you could ever even conceive. With that, it was definitely something for the books, and something that we'll definitely look at when it comes to just the legacy that is Cloud9. We're gonna look at and say, wow, you guys didn't even have your IGL, and you had your freaking coach, for God's sakes. And you also had the major was one of the biggest Cinderella runs, considering when you look at the context of CS, I'm pretty sure even Semler at one point said it in a vlog. He's like, I don't think NA will ever win a major, and if they do, it'll probably be something along the lines of 2016 Team Liquid, where they acquire hella European talent. And look how we proved everyone wrong with somebody like Stewie. Look at League, where people were freaking out when they with the benching of Smoothie, Jensen, and Taniki. That was just unheard of, and the fact that we managed to do that with such a young roster where, where was anybody else in the league scene in North America, period, doing that? And we made it to the semifinals with two, technically three, even though Bladder didn't play that much, with three rookies who had barely had any performance like in the competitive scene versus, teams like Team Liquid or like 100 Thieves or TSM who must have shelled out easily millions, plural, to get the rosters they did. And those were met with relatively mixed results. Uh, Look at Rainbow. Those guys legitimately were just kind of journeymen. I think they were. I think Laxing was on CLG for a bit. Um, we're at pretty much the bottom of the barrel in some of these R6 formats. They managed to trail through Montreal and win the whole thing. So there's like something's in the water that Jack's feeding all these kids, because the fact that they can take like just low market players and turn them into potentially some of the biggest superstars we've seen across esports is just, it's a true testament to us. And as dramatic as this season has been, as much as we were almost in like nuclear fallout mode and just in nuclear winter mode, I wouldn't have had it any other way.
It was, at the end, it was all worth it. We were able to be successful in. We were able to, across the year, at some point, I think, get major wins in pretty much just about every esport that we are a part of. So I think that, just kind of looking back, it's just great.
Yeah, I think there was a lot to be proud of. I guess, what do you guys think is the biggest thing that we can improve on for next year? Whether it's game specific, org related, or anything in general just relating to Cloud9.
I think the CSGO team can really improve. I think the League of Legends team has a lot of room to grow as well. I think really as a whole, a lot of the teams still have a lot of room to grow. Rainbow Six is, they look a lot better than they did when we got them. Rocket League, I think, is still one of the top teams in North America. The London Spitfire, I think, can hopefully take home another championship if they, can continue to practice really hard and everything. So I think 2019 can be just as good as 2018.
Yeah, I would say a few places you can improve in is, I'm looking in terms of the future of what we can expect. For starters, I'm not sure about you guys, but the free market agency for Smash 4 is looking hella good right now. Like almost every big name in Smash 4 is going to be a free agent for Ultimate. We saw it right now where like Tempo Storm actually just picked up Zero, and he's no longer contracted with TSM. And I think guys like, there's so many free markets, like free agents in the market right now. I think you have guys like Larry Lurr. I want to say Tweak is also a free agent. Anti and Ultimates. The more I've heard about Ultimate from a lot of these top Smash players, like it's looking like a game to definitely be the next legit Smash. So I think that's a place we could look forward to, especially because like I would say that Smash is somewhat of a staple in the world of like Cloud9 fans, especially with guys like Mango. Maybe not be as good as he was once upon a time ago, but still lives in the hearts of many Smash or Cloud9 fans thanks to guys like Mango. So I want to see them make improvements there. CS, like everything else, could just use a handful of improvements. And actually, I would love to see if we can actually do anything about PUBG, because I think that Bluehole just announced that they want to do like a pro circuit for that, and one of them is going to be in North America and Korea, where we have two teams. So we'll see what Cloud9 has to see if they want to participate in any of those leagues.
I think I would. Oh, sorry, Frozen. Go ahead.
You go.
I was just gonna say.
I want to answer the question too.
I was just gonna say I'm really looking forward to Ultimate, and I really hope we pick up someone really good. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm so stoked for Ultimate. But my area of improvement is, I think, domestic success for League of Legends. Obviously we've made it out through the gauntlet the past couple of years, but I'm still waiting for the time that we actually win a split and actually perform in finals in North America. Like all the international success that we've had this year makes up for it, but in the past, the international success wouldn't make up for winning a split. So I think making semis of Worlds is not something we're probably going to do every year. So I would like to see us perform better during the domestic season as opposed to limping into playoffs or limping through the season and getting crushed in some playoff matchup like we did both times this year and has happened in the past multiple times also. So that's my biggest thing. I just want to win a split.
I would want the same thing too as well. You know, like I legitimately don't. I legit almost always hold them with the absolute highest expectations. You know, and considering you have this huge three-way tie for two splits between us, Team Liquid, and CLG, and the North American LCS, and considering we've been to since the last time we won it, we went to what? Since the last time we won it, which is what, summer 2014, we went to
Yeah, I think it
spring,
was
spring 2014. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Since
I've
then,
never been a
we've been-
Cloud9 fan since we've won.
Yeah. Let's see. I think it's been like four, off the top of my head, 3 or 4 LCS finals we've been to, and yet to have one, and it's about to be almost 5 years since we won our last one. You know, it's definitely painful, but I mean, to be fair, sometimes the domestic success, it's like there are teams that have never even there are teams like us in other regions where, like, I mean, look at IG. They've won a single LPL title in their entire history since 2013, and they just came off of Worlds. Or you guys got guys like Samsung and Gen G, who never even played in a domestic final and yet went to 2 World Finals where they won one of them. And I'm kind of the opinion where, like, one doesn't erase the other and other way around. But yeah, I definitely want to see us win one.
I would be okay if we didn't win a split and the alternative was going to finals of Worlds and winning one of them. So I will go on record saying that that is okay and acceptable.
That's fair.
But the odds of that happening are a lot lower than us winning a domestic split. So I think as this team ages, I think the potential is there. And I think it's going to come down to, as always, preparation and mental attitude. And that is something that we've seen fluctuate. Obviously, we benched some players due to their mental makeup at the time. And I'm hoping that was a wake-up call, but it's still kind of worrying, I guess, because I really want that domestic split so bad.
I think it can happen. They just need to do it. You know.
Yeah, man. It's just, I mean, we clearly have the talent for it. I mean, the fact that one, you have what is probably one of the greatest like American dream stories, and ironic because he's Canadian, but like one of the greatest American dream stories we've seen in NALCS with Licorice, where this guy was legitimately, unless you were like a hardcore challenger guy watched Challenger League, this guy was kind of unheard of, and the people who knew him, it's just like, yeah, he was the guy who got destroyed by Seraph and Lorlo in promotions, but he goes from that to just legitimately being like one of the best North American like talents we've ever seen. You have guys like Blabber, who actually, fun fact, I actually just learned from a journalist that lives in my area for League. She actually runs the Rift Herald. I actually just learned that Blabber is from the DC Maryland area. But you had this guy who came out of nowhere, who just graduated high school, for God's sakes, and played in his first NALCS finals. The controversy that Sven Skaren brought with him, considering he had this baggage on TSM, and definitely shut most of us up with all the skepticism that we had, you know, with cultivating Golden Glue, a journeyman who finally found his place. Zazel, someone we've been scouting for God knows how long, and we made that top 4 run. Also, can't discredit like some of the other teams that we've done as well. Which again, it's just the constant trend of just cultivating such young talent and such maybe not the greatest players and turning them into like legitimate superstars. Like the only time this isn't even the case was probably like the Overwatch League with London Spitfire. But I mean, they had their rough times and they went from being like a team who couldn't even contend with a mid-tier team like the Gladiators and just shut out the entire Overwatch League playoffs and just made this insanely dominant run, which I've yet to see a run like that for esports in a while. So again, wouldn't have had it any other way.
Yeah, so now that we've talked about places that we need to improve, did you want to add something, Havoc?
Oh no, never mind.
Okay, so what do you guys think the highest high of this year was between League, CS:GO, Overwatch, or anything else? The highest high.
For me, at least, it's a tie between the Boston Major and the Overwatch League Championship, just because those were two huge, important wins, and it took pretty much everything from the team to accomplish. So I would have to choose those.
I would say for me, definitely Overwatch League 1, primarily because I was in attendance for that one. I actually got near floor seats, but like yeah, I was in attendance and seeing like just hearing the crowd reactions for both legendary players with the Prophet 5K on Volskaya and the Dragon on Junkertown. Just hearing like the crowd just emerge and just seeing that right in front of my eyes is probably one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen at an esports event. That was big. Also being up like at like just watching like actually and like in my friend's basement just all like just gather around watching the Boston Major. Uh Legitimately that's probably the first time I've ever been in tears as a C9 fan, just seeing how miraculous of a run that was and how insane that third map was. Both of which even Dash on the broadcast on the LCS stream shouted both teams out for doing what they did. And those two had to been the absolute highlights. And then just an honorable mention to the Gauntlet this year, because while yeah, you could argue that the Gauntlet from 2015 was much more impressive, the fact that we managed to absolutely shut out our demons in TSM and and just cement ourselves as the number 3 seed for Worlds, which would then snowball into something even better. Absolutely, I had to maybe not the absolute highlight of 2018, but you gotta at least give a shout out to us slaying our own demons.
Yeah, I don't think anything Gauntlet wise will ever beat that 2015 run. That was something else with the drama, how that played out. Like that was some of the most fun I've ever had watching League, and some of the most frustrating, like picking a Mumu multiple times. I think for me, I really want to say the Boston Major because nothing beats actually winning something, and like that is a really big deal. Like we were the first North American team to do that ever, right?
We were the first one to win it. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
first one's ever been like I mean, technically in terms of go to the final was Liquid, but I mean that one was it was so hindered by the fact that it was all done or like people look at hindsight like all right, you look at that run which 99% of that was North American, but you had the fact that your best player was Simple, a Ukrainian superstar which you just basically just signed a blank check for and they didn't even win it at the end. So like that's kind of what hinders that one. So yeah, we were the first all North American squad to win the majors.
Yeah, and I really want to pick that, but it truly is remarkable that a North American team was able to get to semifinals at the world's biggest esport tournament, and Cloud9 was able to do it with a lot of swagger. I think after they crushed the freaks. I mean, the result was disappointing, but just the fact that they were able to climb through the group of death and then knock off a second Korean team to make it to semifinals was truly remarkable.
Oh, I can't think of anything more to gush about. Have any final thoughts, I guess, on our year?
All I gotta say is just I'm looking forward to a hell of a 2019. Again, I nodded towards that whole PUBG league that they're announcing. I think they just announced it like today, but obviously more details to come out. You got more expansions, teams coming into the Overwatch League. Some of them which are, from what I've been reading, the rumors are looking kind of promising. I'd love to see how London follows up to that. You have a team that can legitimately win the NALCS and go to MSI. Looking forward to seeing how they execute in that. And really, if you can keep the trend up with the other teams like R6, Clash, maybe sign a cool Smash player, because again, a lot of them are free agents. Looking at Tweak, please sign that kid. That kid looks like he's going to be crazy in Ultimate. And a bunch of other guys. Like, I'm looking forward to the 2019 season, because this is pretty unfortunate. This is kind of the end for esports, but also make sure you guys get out there and vote for the organization at the Game Awards. At least I think that's what it was.
I think that they should just give us the award without voting. I think that Cloud9 has been the most dominant esports or organization around the world this year. So I have a good feeling that we're going to win that. But yeah, that wraps up pretty much the esports year for 2018. It's early November, but league's done. Overwatch League is done for a bit. CS:GO slowing down. Everything else is kind of slowing down at the moment. So we kind of wanted to make our 100th episode kind of right now, because our next couple episodes are going to be probably every other week up until things start to pick up again. Maybe even a little bit longer once the holidays roll around. So we've been doing this for quite a while, and I appreciate you guys. I know Dr. Manhatten and Havokpus both appreciate everyone who tunes in every week. And it's really cool to have people follow us and listen to us every week and comment on some of our stuff and make jokes with us. And it's not really a place I ever expected to be. And I never expected this podcast to make it to 100 episodes when I published just some random post in our Cloud9 2 years ago, but here we are. I know Havokpus has been with me since the beginning. Dr. Manhattan's been here for a really long time. We still have a lot of the OG members in Discord with us, so we still talk to them pretty frequently, even if they don't come on the pod specifically. And even though it's not big, I'm pretty proud of the community that we've built up with this.
Same here. And to sort of celebrate our 100th episode, I have sort of an announcement. Keep an eye out, because I will eventually open up this subreddit that I have made called Cloud9's Trophy Case, or maybe it's just C9's Trophy Case. It doesn't matter. But the point is, it's going to be a place that will basically be sort of like a museum for all of our wins. It'll have maybe like a cute picture of like a trophy or something that's drawn. It'll have like a story behind kind of, maybe why this one was so special, maybe saying a bit about the tournament and who we played and all that stuff. So it's going to try to cover as much stuff as we can. It may take a while, but I want to preserve all that history. I want to preserve everything.
I made you promise that it was going to be done by the 100th episode, and you might have promised or not. I don't remember.
Promises can be broken, Frozen.
No, they can't.
Yes, they can. They can easily be broken.
It's too late. I'm holding this episode off until that's done. I'm just kidding, but I assume you'll put that in and the subreddit?
Well, I will definitely tweet it out, and I will try to get it at least up and running and have a few posts there already by the weekend.
All right, that's fine. No rush. Anything else you guys want to say or add?
Can't think of anything.
Nope. Just again, glad to be here. I show up sporadically, but every time I come in here, I just try to make this absolutely the best episode I possibly can. And to everyone listening, thank you all so freaking much, because it honestly means the world to me.
Well, thank you one and all for enjoying us for 100 episodes. Here's to 100 more. Follow us on Twitter at C9 Bodied, or email us to bodiedfancast@gmail.com. Catch you later. Watch the next episode. Goodbye.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. First, thank you guys listening, and then thank you to Dr. Manhatten and Havokpus.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, bye guys.